Math 92, homework number 7. First, we want to evaluate rational expressions. When we say rational expression is a type of fraction that has a letter or variable at the denominator. Okay? So in this case, we have m minus 4 over m plus 10. And we want to evaluate that when m is 10. And the other ones, also, we want to take the 7 and substitute for the p-value to see what we get on that one. Okay? So it just requires you to do some basic calculations. Of course, you could use your calculator for that. So in that case, if I take the 10 and substitute, then I have 10 minus 4 over 10 plus 10, which gives me 6 over 20. And remember, you always have to simplify your last fractions. You have to reduce it. See, 6 is 2 times 3, and 20 is 2 times 10. So they both have 2, the numerator and denominator. You need to cancel that. So then what is left is 3 over 10. Now I need to take 7 and substitute for the letter of the p. And here, remember, is p to power of 2. I got 63 over 0. It's divided by 0. Let's just go ahead and use our calculator. What is 63 divided by 0? (63 divided by 0). See, it doesn't give you any answer. It's wrong, right? So that means any number divided by 0 is undefined. Okay? Like when I ask you to take 6 and divide it by 2, what is half of 6? 3. What about 6 divided by 3? What is 6 divided by 3? 2, right? What is 6 divided by 0? It's like I give you an apple, I say, can you divide this apple by 0? You cannot divide by 0, right? So it's undefined. And then when you use your calculator will give you the error. Remember, that's not the case when you have 0 over a number. Like what is 0 over 5? When you use your calculator would give you 0. 0 divided by 5. 0, okay? So this one is fine. It's just the denominator cannot be 0. And how do you find out? By using your calculator. They had n2 minus 5, n plus 4, 2n plus 8, and they want us to substitute n4. All right, you just put that 4 here again. What is 0 divided by 20? Remember I said use your calculator. It gives you 0. So what we learned here is any number divided by 0 is undefined. 0 divided by any number is 0. Again, apply your calculator to verify that. Use the information given in the exercise to answer the questions. This formula is given. W is 8 millions divided by value of the P, right? And they're saying W is each person winning in dollar. And the P value is number of people. So here it said find the W if 20 people, means if the P value is 20 here, right? So basically all I need to do is just put a 20 here, take that, and divide it by 20. And that gives you 400,000. Second part, they're asking you to use 100 people instead of this 20. So then you just have that number divided by 100. 12 the 0 cancel, so that gives you 80,000. Use the information given in the exercise. What they have here is this. They're saying, okay, this formula is given, right? S is estate spending per person. T is number of years. They have built the formula at 2000, right? From now they want you to calculate at 2010. From 2000 to 210 is 10 years. That means T is 10. So basically what you need to do is take that 10 and substitute for the T. And when you do that, you should come up with these numbers. That much of dollars. Okay, this is just the calculations. All right, so let's go to the next problems here. Now, this type of problem, it said find the value that must be excluded when you put any numbers. Can I put any numbers for the m and see what happens? Okay, let me show you this. You have these numbers, right? So let's say I put 3 for m. Then what would the outcome? 3 minus 2, 3 minus 9 is 1 over negative 6. Yep, you come up with a value. M equal to 10. How about that? 10 minus 2, 10 minus 9 is 8 over 1, 8. Yep, you have a value. How about the negative number? M equal to minus 15. All right, so minus 15 minus 2 minus 15 minus 9. So that would be minus 17 over minus 24. Yep, you get a value. Is there a number that when I substitute for m, I don't get any result? Let's try 9. 9 minus 2, 9 minus 9. What is 7 divided by 0? We talk about this. We say 7 divided by 0 is undefined, right? Because when I use my calculator give me error. So there is one number that must be excluded. That's what they're asking here. Find the value of the variable that must be excluded for the rational expression. It means there is a number that when you substitute for m, it doesn't give you any value. How do I find that number? How do I know that number? Look at the denominator. This number is always should be minus 9 here. It's always opposite of the sign here. You always look at the denominator. The denominator is important. What number would make the denominator 0? Negative 9. You don't want that. Okay? So how do I find it? Well, just take the denominator, set it equal 0. That means I want to see what number would make the denominator 0. Negative 9. Because if I put negative 9 here, negative 9 plus 9 is 0. So anytime we ask you to tell them what value must be excluded, look at the denominator. Look at this one. Can I substitute any value for h at numerator and denominator? Yes, there is only one value. What value is that you cannot exclude? Look at the denominator. What number would make 5h plus 9 0? What number would make 5h plus 9 equals 0? To find that, move 9 to the other side. Divide both sides by 5. And just say, okay, that number is minus 9 over 5. Do not substitute that number, because if you do, you don't come up with any value. Well, let's try. I'll take this one and I'll substitute for the h here. Look. 6 times minus 9 over 5 plus 4. And here is denominator is 5 times minus 9 over 5 plus 9. Okay? This 5 and 5 cancel. I don't care what I have at the numerator. At the denominator, I see I have 0. Regardless what you have at the numerator, denominator cannot be 0 because it is undefined. All right? So how do I find a number that must be excluded? Always take the denominator and set it equal to 0 and find your value. That's the number that must be excluded. How about this one? There is no variable at the denominator, right? Like, if I take 4 equal, can I solve this? No, this is okay. Why is okay? It's like, let's say I give you a problem like this. X over 5 plus 3. You could take any number and substitute for the x. You always have a value because you don't have any variable at denominator. Remember, rational expression has a variable at the denominator. This one is okay. You could come up with any x and always substitute here and you come up with a value. So when you have something like this, if you don't see any x or any letter at the bottom, means you could substitute any number here. See? Is there an exception? No. All the numbers work. So the only time you have exception if you have a variable at the denominator. Here we want to multiply the rational expressions. You know, when you have y3 over y2, can you simplify this? Yeah, you just say y3 is what? Y times y times y, and y2 is this, right? Okay, so two of them cancel, so that would be just y. What if you have x3 over x5? X3 is like this, and x5 is 5 times. Okay, 3 of them cancel. What is left at the top? Just 1. Don't just say nothing. 1 over what? X2. Okay, so that means when you have x3 and x5, you cancel this and there is a x2 at the bottom and just 1 at the top. Now, let's say you have a problem like this. y3 over x5, and you have x3 over y2. Let's look at this problem. When you want to cancel, y2 and y3 do not need to be lined up like this. As long as one is at the numerator and one is at denominator, you could still do the same thing. You could just say, you know what, y2 and y3, that would just leave one y here. x3 and x5, it leave x2. So the outcome is what? Y over x2. Okay, so now we do the same thing here. Look, 5y3 and, okay, look at the y3 and y here. That would leave y2, correct? Because y and y3 cancel, that would leave y2. x3 and x, that leave what? x2. Now let's look at the numbers. The numbers is, you have 5, you have 12, you have 2, you have 30. Which is 60 divided by 60 is 1, right? 5 times 12 is 60, 2 times 30 is 60. So, or you could just say, you know what, 5 goes to 30 is 6, 6 goes to 12, 2 divided by 2 is 1. So the answer is what? Just y2 x2 or x2 y2, the same thing. 14 HK minus 14 HK 11 H2 33K 49 H. Let's look at this. You know what? Let's just ignore all the numbers and worry about the letters first. Okay? Let's see what happens. HK, H2, K, and H. H and H cancel. K times K is K2 over H2. You see? Now let's worry about the numbers. You have negative 14, 11, 33, 49. 14 divided by 7 is 2. 49 divided by 7 is 7. 11 divided by 11 is 1. 33 divided by 11 is 3. So what do you have so far? Minus 2 times 3 is minus 6 over 7. All right, you put that one here. Oh, you could just do everything here. But you gotta be careful not to mix up. It's like 14 goes to 79. It's 2 and 7, you know, and 11 goes to 33 is 3, and then so on. You could do it this way too. You know, x plus 9 and x plus 9. You see that? One is at numerator, one is at, both are the same thing, right? Cancel. X plus 2 at numerator and x plus 2 at denominator. Cancel. See, for you to cancel identical parentheses, one must be at numerator and the other one at the denominator in order to cancel. What is left at the top is x minus 9 and the bottom is x minus 7. N plus 4 here and n plus 4 here. You see that? One numerator, one denominator. N plus 1 and n plus 1. What is left? N minus 3 and n plus 1. All right, now be careful. Don't do that. Some people make a mistake and cancel. No. You know why? It's like, look, 10, let's look at this example. 10 minus 3 over 10 plus 5. This fraction, isn't this 7 over 15? It is, right? Can you do this? No, because then you have, you look, then you have this. See? You cannot do that. When there is this plus or minus between letters and the numbers, you cannot cancel it. This is different than this, look. There is no plus or minus, means 3 multiplied by n, 5 multiplied by n. Then yes, you could cancel these two. But not when there is a plus or minus, you cannot separate them. Look, you cannot do that. So you gotta be careful. You know, I've seen students do all this work and at the end, they just cancel this and come over here. They say, oh, minus 3/5. No, no. All right. In this problem, they are saying 1 pound box is priced $2.97 per pound. $2.92 per pound. We want to change it to ounce. We understand that it said here, 1 pound is 16 ounces. They are telling you that 1 pound is 16 ounce. One pound is 16 ounce, okay? Or you could just say, you know what? If I want to change pound to ounce, you just multiply this by 16. Look, this pound and pound cancel. What do you have? You have dollar per ounce. You have $2.92 divided by 16 ounce. Okay? What does that give you when you divide these two? 0.19. 0.19 dollar per ounce. So if you want to change dollar per pound to dollar per ounce, pound is 16 ounce. You have to do it at the denominator. 1 pound is 16 ounce, right? So then you just say 292 divided by 16, it gives you 0.19 dollar per ounce. Same thing here. 4.17 divided by 16, so that would give you 0.28. It's very similar to that problems. Is it 26? Yeah, 26. Okay. Now this is divisions. You know, when you take 2 divided by 3 and let's say divide by, I don't know, 5/6. You remember if you divide, when you divide two fractions, what you do is you write the first fractions, you change division to multiplications and reverse the second fraction. That was the rule, right? Like that. Okay? So anytime you have a division, you want to switch division to multiplications, you have to inverse the second fractions. So here, before you do any simplification, do not simplify any letters yet. First do that. So just say 11 y2 over 16x, change the division to multiplications, reverse the second fractions. Now you could go ahead and simplify. For a second, if you disregard the numbers, what do you have? You have y2 over x, x2 over y, right? y2 is y times y. 1 cancel. That would leave 1 y here. x2 and x2 would. So you don't have anything, any letter at the bottom. At the top, you have xy or yx, right? Yx. Now let's look at the numbers. 11, 52, 16, 33. 11, I can do that here so you can see it better. Now you don't have to write it separate, but the reason I do that so you could actually see how we simplify, okay? 11 goes to 33 is 3. And what else? Can be 16 and 52 divided by 4 is 4, divided by 4 is 13. So what do you have? You have 13 at the top and 12 at the bottom, right? 13, 12. Division is a division sign. X minus 1 divided by x minus 6. Change the division to multiplications and reverse the second fractions. What is left is what? X minus 2 over x minus 6, right? So you change the division sign to multiplication and reversing the second fractions. They put that negative sign, so it might just confuse a little bit. Oh, in division, let me ask you this. When you have 3 divided by, or just, okay, if you have minus 6 divided by 2, isn't that minus 3? What is minus 6 divided by 2? Minus 3. What is 6 divided by minus 2? Minus 3. So it doesn't matter whether the negative is here or there. You could always bring it to the front, right? See, minus 6 over 2, you could write it as negative 6 over 2. You could write it as 6 over negative 2. Or you could just put a negative before the fraction. See, they all are the same thing. See that? So if that's the case, then here, I'll take that negative sign and bring it to the front. So that won't be any problems here, okay? So then I write it like that. I write it as, all right, I have negative 8pq over 11q2 multiply by, reverse the second fraction, 7q divided by 88, the letter of p. So move that negative to the front so it won't be in our calculations, okay? Now, q times q is q2, and you have a q2 here. Q times q cancel with this, because q2 is what? Q times q, right? The letter of p cancel with letter of p. I don't see any letter left. They all cancel. So right now, all I see is this. Eight goes to 88 is 11. So I have negative 7 times 11 times 11. So it's negative 7 over 121. t plus 11 over t minus 3. Change the division sign to multiplications. Reverse the second fractions like that. So when you change it from division to multiplication, you get to reverse the second fraction. T plus 6 over t minus 3, just write it as t minus 2 over t plus 6. These two cancel. What is left is what? T plus 11 over t plus 6. You could either put a parenthesis around it or not. Subtract the rational expression of 13 over 50 minus 3 over 35. You know, 50 is 5 times 10, and 35 is 5 times 7. When you want to subtract or add, you want to make sure that denominators remain the same, okay? So they both have 5. This one has 10, but it doesn't have 7. What if I just multiply? I put a 7 here and 7 here. This one doesn't have 10. What if I put 10 here and 10 here, right? So look, 5, 10, 7, 5, 10, 7. They all have the same denominator, which is what? 5 times 10 is 50 times 350. See, because both have the same denominator. And now it's 13 times 7 minus 3 times 10. So it would be 51 minus 30 over 350. So that would be 21 over 350. That's it? Let me double check here. I have to use my calculator. 13 times 7 is, oops, 91 minus 30, 61, sorry. 61 over 350. Before I go to the next one, let's look at this example. Let's say you have something like this, 2 over 5 plus 7 over 3. You know, to take a common denominator, what you could do is this. You could just say, oh, look, denominator is 5 and denominator is 3. I want both denominator to be 15. This one doesn't have 3, so you put 3 here and 3 there. This one doesn't have 5. This is another way of making both the same denominator. So what you have is what? 615 plus 35 over 15. You see that? That's how to make it same denominator. So one denominator is 5, one denominator is 3. This one doesn't have 3, so multiply by 3. This one doesn't have 5, so you put 5 and a 5. See, both have the same denominator. Now you could add them. You could just say, okay, 6 plus 35, whatever that is, over 15. That's what we did here. See? I had 5 times 10, 5 times 7. This one needs 7. This one needs 10. Now they both have the same denominator. Ten C 9 A2 B2, change division to multiplication ABC over 8. All right, let's see. 8 and 10, 2 goes to 8 is 4, 2 goes to this is 5. So far as the number, I have this. A2 and A. 1A cancel. B and B2, 1B. There is no C at the bottom, okay? So, oh, you know what? I couldn't see this. This is addition. Sorry. Okay, well, let's go to the addition now. Well, let's finish this. So if it's division, if this problem was division, then you have 5C2, 36AB. But now it's the addition. Let's look at that. It's 10C 9A2B2 plus 8ABC. Ooh, this is another very easy ones. This one has A2. This one has just A. So what if I put an A here and A here? Okay. B2 and B. This needs another B here. Let's put a B top and put one here. This one has C. This one doesn't have any C. We are talking about the denominator. I don't care if there's C up there. Look. This one has C. This one doesn't have a C. So I'll put a C here and C here, which make it C2. So far I have A2B2C, A2B2C. This has 9, this one doesn't have a 9, right? So I put a 9 here and 9 there. So now they both have 9 A2B2C, and here is 10 C2 plus 72 AB. Okay, so look at this one. Okay. All right. Sorry, guys, my dog was barking. Okay. Now, the next one is subtract 5S 14 T2 minus 9 32 S2T. Okay, so I have T to power of 2 here is just a T. So you put a T at the top and make this T2. This one has S2, this one doesn't have S2. So you put a S2 here and S2 here, which make this S3 now. So now I have 5 S3 over 14 S2 T2 minus 9T 32 S2 T2. All right, now this one doesn't have 32. You have 32, but this one doesn't have a 32. So multiply by 32 and 32 here. This one doesn't have 14. So multiply by 14 and 14. So now 32 times 14 . 448 S2 T2, 5 times 32, 160 S3 minus 126T, and they're all divisible by 2, so it would be 80 S3 minus 63 and 228 S2 T2. Wow, that's a very long problem. Six A plus 2, 5 A plus 9. You know, you want your common denominator to be A plus 2 times A plus 9. You want that to be common denominator, correct? This one needs A plus 9. So you put 1 at the top and 1 at the bottom. This one needs A plus 2, so you put A plus 2 at the bottom and A plus 2 at the top. So now what you have is 6A times A plus 9 plus 5 times A plus 2. And then you distribute 6A2 plus 54A, 5A plus 10, A plus 2 and A plus 9. So that would be 6A2, 59A plus 10 over that. We want to add 5x plus 8, x minus 4 plus 28, 4 minus x. You know, when you have 4 minus 1 over 1 minus 4, you understand this is 3 divided by negative 3, or is negative 1. Or if you have 7 minus 2 over 2 minus 7 is 5 over negative 5, which is negative 1. The reason is this. If you have 4 minus 1 and 1 minus 4, look, 1, negative 1, 4, negative 4. What you could do, you could take one of these, write the other ones, and just put a negative sign outside the parentheses. Minus 4, when you distribute this, that's what you get. So the only difference between these two is the negative sign, you understand? So here, look, 7 minus 2, 2 minus 7. Negative 2, positive 2, positive 7, negative 7. What's the difference between these two? I can take 7 minus 2 and write it as minus 2 minus 7. Because negative 2 minus 7 is same as 7 minus 2. Look, when I distribute, negative times negative 7 is 7, negative times 2 is negative 2. It's the same thing. So if you have A minus B over B minus A, the outcome is always negative 1, or you could take one of these two, write the other one, as long as you put a negative sign before one of this. Right here, 4 minus x and x minus 4 is the same thing. So I write here, okay, I'll take 4 minus x out and I'll write x minus 4 and I put a negative sign here. So that negative come here, so it would be minus 28 over x minus 4. See, now they both have the same denominator. It's 5x minus 20 over x minus 4. They both have 5 in common. I factor 5 out. The answer is 5. 5 and 20, they both have 5 in common, so I factor 5 out. Look at this one. I have 40, 3x minus 9, if I remove 3, is x minus 3. And second fraction is just x minus 3. You want the denominator to be 3 times x minus 3. So what you do is you put a 3 here and 3 there. So it would be 40 minus 9, 31 over 3 times x minus 3. So you have to factor 3 out first. How do I know my factoring is correct? If I take the 3 and multiply by x minus 3, or if I distribute, I get that one, right? So your goal is to have the same denominator. Now we want to solve the equations. Six over 1, you want denominator to be x. There are different ways to do this problem. One is to get rid of the denominator, you multiply every term by x. So what you do is this. Look, you put an x here like that. X, 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 x. All right, so then what you have is this. 6x, x and x cancel, minus 6, 3x plus 15. See, in that case, you don't have denominator anymore. So in that, now you just put minus 3x, minus 3x, plus 6, plus 6. So is 3x equal to 21, or x is 21 divided by 3. Or 7. When you solve this type of equations, you want to make sure that, you know, the original problem was like this, was 6 minus 6 over x, right? It's 3 plus 15 over x. You want to make sure that x is not 0. If the final answer is 0, is not correct. You understand? Remember I said if you have a variable at the denominator, you don't want that to be 0. So when you solve the equation, if the x happen to be 0, do not accept it. Well, it's not the case here because x is 7. But if the answer happen to be the answer that make the denominator 0, you cannot accept it. But that's not the case here. We want to solve I guess we could approach the same way, you know. If I want to cancel the denominator, you could multiply everything by 4x. Because you have the 4x here, you know. Multiply all of them by 4x. And then we add 12x because now we want to solve these equations. Again, you want to make sure the final answer is not x equals 0 because that would make the denominator 0. You know, you could always check your answer. How do I check when you solve the equation? You just take these two and substitute here and see if both sides are equal. That's how you could check your answers, okay? These problems, they're telling you that the W, they give you this formula. W is 8 million over the value of P. On the first part, P is number of people. The first part there says if P is 80 people, what's the W? Well, all you need to do is just take that and substitute for the P, 80. So that gives you 100,000. That's very simple. Second part, they are telling you that W is given. See, this is a formula. Right? W is given, the second part is 125,000 over 1 is 8 million over P, letter of the P. So if you swap these two, then you get letter of the P is equal to 8 millions over 125,000. This cancel, and 8,000 divided by 125. It gives you 64. So this problem, part one, the letter of P, the variable of P is given. The second part, part B, the W is given. In case W is given and they ask you to find the P, all you need to do is swap this two. Put the P here, 125 the denominator, okay? This problem is very similar to that. The formula is given, cost is 125 plus 10 times T over T, right? First part, they're telling you that you have 100 of this. This is the cost, and T is a number of t-shirts. So this formula is given. Part A, if you have 100 t-shirts, what's the C? C is 125 plus 10 times 100 over 100. So would be like that. So it would be 1125 divided by 100 is $11.25, $11.25. So that's part A. And part B, C is given now. Part B, C is $11, and they want you to calculate the value of t, the number, they want you to find the number of t-shirts, okay? There is one formula that is very useful for you to remember, and that they call it cross product. Or cross multiplication. If you have two fractions equal to each other, when you cross them, it's a times t is always b times c. This is very, very useful. So here, when these two fractions are equal, I cross multiply, okay? So I have 11t is 125 plus 10t. And then I move 10t to the other side. T is 125. Solve the rational equations. It said enter your answer as a comma, separate the list. If there is no solution, enter no solution. Okay, so it would be 15 over 16 plus 5 over 8k, this is problem number 30, equal to 1. We want to solve these equations. Well, what you can do is, look, I want this denominator to be the same, right? So this is 16, this is 8. What if I multiply this by 2? So in that case, you have 16 and you have 16, 10 here. 16 and 16, right? This one doesn't have a k, this one has a k. So I'll put a k here and k here. Now what you have is this, look, you have 15k over 16k plus 10 over 16k equal 1 over 1. Now they both have the same denominator. You could add. Now you cross multiply. K equal to 10. See, our goal is to have, see the denominator, the original problem was like this, right? 15 over 16 plus 5 over 8k. We wanted to have 16k as our denominator. So then this need a 2 and this need a k to have it like that. That's what we did here. Solve another rational expression. So it's easier if you use cross multiplications, remember? So 10 times x minus 4 is 4 times x plus 2. So we are using the cross product here. And again, when you solve the equations like this, you want to make sure the final answer is not 4 or -2. If this happened to be 4, it's wrong. You know why? Because when you want to do the checking, when you put 4 here, 4 minus 4 make the denominator 0. So sometimes from the beginning, before we solve the problem, we should say, hey, x cannot be 4 or -2. Why? Because -2 would make the denominator 0. 4 also make the denominator 0. So before I solve the problems, I know the final answer must not be one of these two. If happen to be, then there is no solution for that number. It's not the case here because you got 8. 8 is not that. Solve another rational, again, because the denominator has a letter in it. So again, before I work on these problems, I want to make sure the final answer is not t equal 8 or t equal -7. Because -7 would make this 0, 8 would make that 0. Fortunately, the answer is 5. It's not any of those. So we could accept. This problem is very similar to those two. Twelve divided by 2 is 6. This divided by 2 is 21/6. I think something is not right because that's not. Let's try. All right, here. 6 times 3 is 18. Sorry. I know something's not right. Sorry about that. So T is negative 42 divided by 21, which is negative 2. Okay. When you come up with the answers, you could always check to see if it's correct or not. If it doesn't check, then there is an error somewhere. See how when I multiply this, I didn't realize it's 18. Okay. Now, this type of problems, it said, use the information given in the exercise. Use the information given in the exercise to answer the questions. A new vinyl fencing that looks like a stone will cost $228 for 8-foot sections. So it would cost $228 for 8-foot sections. How much would it cost, X, we don't know, for 192 feet? When you work on this type of problem, make sure you put all the numbers right in the right unit. See, I created 2 units. One is dollar, one is foot, right? It said $228 for 8 foot, $228 for 8 foot. Now they're asking for 192 feet, how much? So make sure they're all on the right column. Now, when you do that, then just create fractions and like this. Okay, so then cross multiplication is 8x is 192 divided by 228. So yeah, and you take this to a multiply. And then divided by 8. $54.72. $5,472. Wow, that's a lot. Okay. So that was number 34. Number 35, it said, watch the unit and make sure your answer has the correct unit. Enough paint to cover 150 square feet costs 25. So dollar here, $25 to cover 150 square feet. If you have 320 square feet, how much you have to pay? What's the cost? Again, $25 to cover 150 square feet. $25 to cover 150 square feet. How many dollars to cover 320 square feet? Again, make sure all the units are okay. So in that case, again, make it as a fractions, put the equal sign, and then cross product, okay? So would be x, 150x is 25 times 320, and then you divide both sides by 150. That gives you the value of x, which it should be, let me see. $53.33. All right. This one is a very long homework, huh? I think because we're getting close to the end of the semester. Now this one, nutrition fact, all the numbers are given here. It said if you have, use the information given in this exercise to answer the following question. Watch the units and make sure your answer has the correct units of measure. Nutritional value for a fun size Snickers bar are given. A king size Snicker has 537 calories. This is given. They're saying there is 537 calories for a king size Snickers bar. Find the total amount of the king size Snicker bar, total fat. Total amount of fat. They want us to calculate that. Okay, let's read here. It said 71 calorie, it takes 4 grams of fat. 71 calories. It takes 4 grams of fat. How many calories do we have? Put it under the calories. How many grams? You see? 71 calorie has 4 grams. 537 calorie, how many grams? So 71x, so it would be 71x is 4 times 537. So x is 4 times 537 divided by 71. Is 30.25 grams. The second part, part B, find the amount of cholesterol in a king size Snickers. In 71 calorie, how many milligrams is a cholesterol here? It's right there. Okay, 2 milligram cholesterol in 71 calories. So let's just find this part for it. In 71, there is 2 milligrams. 537, how much? Same way. So x is 2 times 537 divided by 71, and that should give you 15.13 milligrams. Okay? Check. All right, so now this should be easier to do because we use the cross multiplication here, right? So it would be 5x is 8 times 25. This was the problems. 8 over x was 5 over 25. You understand that 525 you could also simplify too, but anyway, divided by 5. So x is 40. So we use the cross multiplications or cross product a lot here. All right. Now this is the new subject. Two triangles are similar triangles. Okay. Now let's say you have a triangle here like that. Let's say you have this and the dimension is 2, I don't know, 3, and let's say 7, okay? 2 inch, 3 inch, 7. When you use the copy machine and put it in double size, is when you double the size of this and you print a copy, don't you get something like this? 14, 4, and 6. See, the size double, right? So you use the copy machine and you double the size of that pictures. So in that case, these two sides, they call it similar sides. So the ratio of 6 divided by 3 is equal to what? What is the similar side to this? This one. So it's 4 over 2. What is the similar side to this one? That. 14 over 7. See, they all is 2. So if you have two triangles or two pictures, it could be anything. And if this is A1, B1, C1, what is A2, B2, C2? A2, B2, C2. A1 and A2 both are parallel lines. So these two are similar sides. B1 and B2 are similar size, and C1 and C2 are similar size. So we always have this relation that A1 over A2 is B1 over B2 is C1 over C2, or vice versa. We have A2 over A1 is B2 over B1 and C2 over C1. This is for similar triangle, they call it. or similar, in this case it's similar triangles, but any type of picture that you double or you triple, they have the same ratio. So here, look, these two triangles, it said they are similar. It's 5 and x, this is A and B. It said A is 17, so this is 17 and B is 11.9. And this is 5. They want us to find length of this one. So let's start with a small one. X over what? What is the similar side of this? 11.9. Again, start with the small one. 5 over 17. See, when you start with the small one, you just say x over 11.9 because these two are similar triangle, and 5 and 17, okay? So these two, five and 17 are similar sides. X and 11.9 are also similar side. Now I need to solve this equation. Again, make sure when you write x over 17, don't just say 11.9 over 5. You have to keep the order. X over 11.9 because we start from a small triangle. Then 5 over 17. Okay, so now we cross multiply. X is 5 times 11.9 divided by 17, which give you 3.5. 43, number of calories burned, C, while playing full court basketball varies directly with that. This formula, we want you to create a formula, okay? So they're saying that C varies directly with H. And they're telling you that is 853, okay. Now, let's say I have something I tell you here that X varies directly with, oh, I'm sorry, Y varies directly with X. Or I say Y varies directly with letter A, or Y varies inversely with X. Directly means if you have a Y, you have an X here too. Y varies directly with A, but here Y varies inversely with X, means is like that. When you say inversely, means whatever X is, you could reverse it and that would give you the value of Y. So we are using this term. Now, when you write the equation, there is always a constant. Like here. What is the area of the circle? You don't need to know, but the area of the circle, A, is pi r2, or A is, pi is the constant number, is 3.14 radius to power of 2. Every formula, or most of the formula, they always have a constant. In this case, is the pi. Pi is the constant number, it's 3.14 and continue. So in the problem like this, when we say y varies directly with x, directly is just a straight line. So you always have to throw a k or a constant here. Y varies inversely with x, okay? K has to be the top. All right, let's say we want to translate this. Cost varies directly with number of machines. Cost varies directly with number of machines. Say cost varies with n, number of machines, right? Cost varies directly with number of machines. So you just throw a k here too. What if I say cost varies inversely with number of machine? Then it's k over n. N has to be a denominator. That's inversely. Okay. So now in this one, they're saying the number of calories while playing full court basketball vary directly with number of hours. So C is this 853, K is given, H. H is number of hours and this is the cost. So they give you the constant. Otherwise you just write C equal KH, right? Part B, they're saying, okay, since you have the formula, if H is 2.5 hours, how would you calculate the C? C is just 853 times 2.5 hours, which is 2,132.5 calories. It's the cost is, I'm sorry, it's calories. It doesn't matter. C is the calorie, not the cost. Solve the direct variations. At the community college, a month of tuition T in dollars owed by a student varies directly with the number of credit. T varies directly with the C. So we have it, so directly means this, right? And then you throw the K. Now we need to give you the value of K. To give you the value of K, we are saying that if you take 9 credit, then you have to pay $540. If you take 9 credit, you have to pay $540. That helped me to find a K now, because now I have this. 540 is 9K. If I divide both sides by 9, that gives me the value of the K. 60. When you find the value of K, 60, you could put it back in the equation. Now equation has the value of this, is right. Now we could continue. Our formula is ready. So if a student take like 6 credit, they tell you how much would it cost. Okay. Part B, they're saying that we are going to take 18 credit. Part B, they're saying we are going to take 18 credit. How much do we have to pay? All I need to do is put it in the formula. So you have to pay $1,080. So for this type of problem, when they say directly, you just write it like that, you put a K, then they give you some information to find a K. Then when you find a K, you put it back there. Now your formula is ready to accept, any credit. Any number that they give you as far as the credit, you put it here to find your T, the tuition. See here? Direct variations. The amount of the weekly paycheck, they call it W, varies directly with amount of time, like that. Amount of weekly paycheck varies directly with T. Remember, we always do a K here, constant. Then we give you some information to find this K. We are saying that for 16 hours, you make $156 amount of the paycheck. How do I find the K? You divide both sides by 16. So K is 156 over 16, which is 9.75, right? So when you have that, then you put that back in the equations. Now you're waiting for the part B of the problems. Part B, then we are saying that if you have 22 hours, what is the W now? We just take that and multiply by 9.75. So that's $214.50. Okay? So again, all these problems, in the beginning, you write your formula, and they always have a K in it. Then they give you some information to find your K. When you find your K, you put it back in the equations. Then your equation is ready to accept any number for the T to find the W. Now this one, it said the value of the P, solve the inverse variation. The variable of the P varies inversely with C. Remember, inversely with C is like this. C has to go to denominator. Since you always have a K, you have to put a K. K always stay there. If this problem was directly, then you had like this, right? See, if it was directly. But if it's inversely with C, then this is the formula. Then we give you some information to find a K in part B. We're just saying that, okay, if C is 200, then value of P is 1800. So then you just say 1800 is K over 200. When I cross multiply, K is 36, 1, 2, 3, 4, 360,000. Okay? You have the K, you put it back in the formula. So the value of P is 360,000 over C. Okay? And that is ready for the second part. The second part, they are saying if C is 125, what is the value of the P? and that gives you 2880. $47 if in a ball, the pressure of air, P, is inversely proportional to volume. P is inversely proportional to volume. See, the volume has to go at the denominator. Pressure, volume, and then you threw that K again, remember? So anytime say inversely with that letter would go to the denominator. Okay, and then we give you some information to find the K. We are saying that if P is 0.5 and volume is 19 cubic inch, the unit is okay. We don't play with the units here, so we don't have to worry about that. So it would be 0.5 is K over 19. And when you cross multiply, K is half of 19. $9.5. And of course, the second part, you have to put that K back in the equations. Now equation is ready to accept any value for the volume. Volume is, what if the volume is 25 cubic inch? How do you calculate the pressure? So that would be 0.38. Okay, so again, these problems are all very similar. It's just you got to remember direct proportion versus inverse proportions. The next problem, they are saying, this is kind of interesting because it has, they're saying I, illumination I, varies inversely with square of the distance. A square of the distance is this. Look, inversely means you go to denominator with a square of distance. And we put a K here. And then they give you some information. Again, they just say, okay, what if the I is 16.7 and D is 10? Find the K. K is 1670. Okay, put the K back. So I is 1670 over D squared. Now, we give you the value of the D. Instead, what if D is 3? Find the I. Okay, let me see if this one is correct. $16.70. $185.56. Almost there. All right. I think that was the last problems. Yeah, this was a very, shouldn't be calculus, sorry. This was a long homework, guys.